I think we can just, should we just go?
Sure.
Yeah.
Hi.
See, how do we fix the light here? Can you plug me in down there? Let's see. Great.
You turn the light on. Oh, stop and says, just talk. We're listening. Oh, I wonder if you're listening to the old one. You just sent us up, right?
Yeah. Okay, tight, hang tight.
Don't turn on that light.
Okay. People say they see us, so we're good. All right. Looks like we're go. And we're just going to get this out to a few more people to make sure that everybody has it. Who was I missing in that last big message? I got, oh, Emmy's out. We got Tara. Let's get, see. Oh, we don't have to do that. Cassie, take care of that. I think that's it. We good?
Great. Yeah.
Okay. Bueno.
Bueno.
This is the official start of the webinar.
This is the official start.
Oh man. Thank you everybody for your patience as we work through our technology difficulties. So, woohoo, welcome. Okay, this is a very serious meeting. We had to call an emergency team meeting because Jeffrey and I have so much to share from this Eric Worre Network Marketing Pro event. So, as you know, Eric Worre is the author of GoPro, and that's the very first personal development book that we teach people to read when they start building doTERRA as a business. And Eric Worre has created this amazing network of powerful people from all over the network marketing industry, and he brings them together for events, and they just had their annual event. It's kind of like the general network marketing convention, kind of.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And so the speakers there were lots of 6- and 7-figure earners, but also people like Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, and Bob Proctor. You remember him from The Secret. He's written books, huge powerhouse speaker. Tony Robbins, he was, of course, the big highlight, and he spoke for 3 hours straight, and people wish that he had gone even longer. And so we have, they gave us these manuals, and we just have tons and tons of pages of notes, and we wanted to basically just take a moment and share some of these treasures that we took away. And basically what we hope you get out of this webinar is, when most of us just came back from doTERRA's global convention, and the global convention is an absolutely non-negotiable thing. In fact, Eric Worre says that of the 3 things that you must do to create a thriving business, he says number 3 is go to convention and get bodies there with you. Like, out of everything in the world that he could have as your top 3 things to being a successful network, with doTERRA, that's where you go and you get the mindset. Like, you get to see the beautiful vision and what we're doing in the world and the service we're providing and how we're impacting families and cultures and communities. And it's right there. And so you walk away with convention with this just like oomph in you, you know, your heart's just full and you can't wait to share. The thing that this Eric Worre event taught you is how. So the Tarot convention teaches you the why, okay? And that's why he says get people to the convention, because it gives people a reason, it gives them a cause and a drive. The Eric Worre event teaches you the skills, basically. Like, we got to see all these very successful people, and we got to get into their brains and figure out how they think and what they so. Is that a good intro? Anything else we're missing?
No.
All right. Well, so I have a place that I like to start. I like to start with the emotions and paradigm. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, please.
Beautiful. And then I'll let you take over with your next favorite thing after that. So Tony Robbins spoke for 3 hours, like I said, and it was really interesting. Don't mind Jeff, just helping people get on the webinar, because there were some links that had to get sent out again. So Tony Robbins talked all about emotions. And it was really fascinating because he had us do this exercise at the very beginning, and he had us take a piece of paper. And actually, if you're watching the webinar, you can actually do this tonight. And I'd write a note down so you don't forget. But he had us take a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle. Excuse me. And on the left side, you got to write down your top positive emotions that you experience on a regular basis, any given week. Okay. So, you know, mine might be gratitude and love and joy and peace and things like that. And then on the right side, you write down the top negative emotions that you experience on during a regular week. And this was really interesting because it basically is it's an honesty moment. I'm trying to find my Tony Robbins page. It was a huge honesty moment, and he got to, here it is. So you can see my list right here. I have my positive emotions and my negative emotions. And the lesson here was, this is kind of what your emotional home is. This is where you're hanging out. And the reason why he wanted us to get clear on emotions is because everything that we create in our life is there because we created it to be there. And until you can take responsibility for that, you will not be able to create your dream life. And that's something that we hear from many successful speakers and entrepreneurs. You must take 100% responsibility for every outcome in your life. Not every event, because you don't control those, right? But event plus response equals outcome. And you have to take responsibility. And the outcomes we generate, our emotions are a great indicator for the kinds of things that we're creating. So once you've identified your emotional home, okay, then you circle the top two on each side on either column, your top two emotions that are positive that you experience most often, and the top two negative emotions that you experience most often. And these are really good to understand because it's going to, again, give you an indicator about where you're hanging out. If you spend a lot of time in frustration and impatience or feeling stressed, you're just creating more of that. On the other hand, if you're spending time in things like gratitude and passion and inspiration and compassion and forgiveness and love and things like that, like you're literally forming new neural pathways in your brain that will help you see more of that in your life. And then as you see more of that, it's easier to act on that and to create the things that are on your vision board, that are on your goal sheet, things like that. Am I missing anything about emotions?
No, I think you covered it.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
So as I was, this thought about emotions, it was actually a common thread that was spoken about by many speakers, not just Tony Robbins. And a few speakers said, hey, success leaves clues. That's actually success principle number 9 in the Success Principles by Jack Canfield, meaning that successful people will often have common threads, qualities, internal things that help them become successful. And your average run-of-the-mill person that's going to stay, you know, in a mediocre life will hear those things and say, yeah, I already know that. I already know all this stuff. And a successful person will say, ooh, how could I implement more of that? Or how is that showing up in my life? And so this emotions thing, that wasn't new for me. Was it new for you?
No, but it was just another reiteration that really hits at home and delivers it to you.
Yeah, it was an invitation for us to reevaluate where we're hanging out emotionally. And you know what? As I looked at my list, I don't know about you, but I looked at mine and I thought, I spend too much time in these two negative emotions. And I got to, in that moment, make a decision. I'm going to spend more time in my more positive ones. So at the end of this exercise, we were invited to write down the top 2 to 3 emotions that are in perfect vibrational alignment with the dreams we want to create. Does that make sense to you? So if I've got a vision board and I do. We have lots of vision boards. If I've got some beautiful things on my vision board, like having children and building our dream home and doing humanitarian work and composing a world famous music composition and things like that, those are just beautiful, joyful things. I'm never going to be able to create that life if I'm spending all of my time in this junky, low vibration, emotional world, right? And so our invitation at the end was to write down the top 2 to 3 emotions that are in perfect vibrational alignment with the dream life that we intend to create. So my 3 were certainty, gratitude, and inspiration. And I know that when I'm in those 3 states, like, I just flourish. I can manifest anything. I can help anyone. I can do anything. I believe in, the goodness of myself and the world around me. So those are my 3 things. And in the past few days since we've been home from 2 days since we've been home from the convention, I've spent a lot of time watching my emotions. Where am I hanging out? Am I hanging out in, impatience and being annoyed, or am I hanging out in gratitude and inspiration and certainty? And it's been really fun to make sure that I'm thinking thoughts and doing things that create those high vibration emotions. What were yours?
That's awesome. My emotions, excitement and passion.
Why those 2?
Well, because they are the ones that get me moving and help me move forward and take action.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And when you feel those things, like, those are what make you feel like you're being your true self, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun to see how everyone craves different high vibration emotions. Like excitement wasn't my thing because I kind of get excited by myself anyway, right? But the certainty, that was the of those 3 that I named, certainty was the highest vibration for me personally, because when I am certain about something, I will get it done. And when I get it done, it builds my confidence, and the things that I'm certain about always help not only me but many people around me. So that's the thing that I was craving. So with that was one of the clues, the success clues that all these speakers were leaving, that they all spend time in these beautiful emotional states, and they don't just do it by accident, right? They don't ever blame their surroundings. They don't ever blame, I've got too much going on, or my spouse is making me do this, or my spouse doesn't do this, or, all the people they don't have anyone to blame. They take responsibility for the emotional state that they're in. And that allows them to create the outcomes they're looking for. Now, as I was evaluating this success clue from all these people, I had an idea. The very first thing that we heard from Bob Proctor, he spoke to us for 2 hours about paradigm shifts. Did you like that?
Yeah, I love that. It was one of my favorite parts.
Oh my goodness. It was just stunning. He talked about a paradigm shift and how your paradigm is going to be the controlling factor for your life, right? So if your paradigm is there's not enough to go around and people are stingy and people don't help me, probably in for a rough life.
Experience, yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that he talked so much about paradigms, and he said that another thing that he talked about was decisions, and that nothing happens until you make a decision. And ultimately, your life, as part of this taking 100% responsibility for your life thing, everything happens because you decide it. You decide that's what you want it. And he said, so for those of you that are sitting on the fence or are still unsure about network marketing or taking action in your business, the only thing that's holding you back is that you have to decide to do it. And that's why he talked so much about paradigms, is because he said, you may have this one paradigm. We all may share this one paradigm because we're involved in network marketing, right? We like doTERRA, we like the products, we like the idea of helping other people make money, and that brings us financial success as well. And he said other people may not have that same paradigm, and to help them through it, just remember that it comes down to a decision. As you're educating people and as you're inviting people to join you, as you're going through your launch guide and flipping through it and deciding, well, I don't know if I'm moving fast enough, or this looks hard, or I don't know if I can achieve this kind of duplication and hit this kind of success. It's a decision. That's it. It's a decision. Do you want it? And if you want it, will you do it? And if you will, do it. And if you won't, don't.
Right.
Well, ultimately, that was the one of the biggest takeaways that I got from this past weekend was it's all a decision. The biggest things were deciding and fear. Fear is always going to be there, and it's always 90% worse than the anticipation of it is always 90% worse than the actual thing. And decision and fear, deciding and fear. Just decide and move forward and go through it.
You have to understand a little bit about why Jeff is being so direct. We just hung out for 4 days with millionaires from all over the globe, and they all had this kind of like owning their situation attitude. There's no like, it's going to happen if it happens, you know, maybe I'll get lucky. It's, I made the decision that I'm going to pursue this dream and I will do it. Okay. And nothing will get in the way. And you don't do it by running people over. You do it by creating win-win-wins all the time. And that's what all of them had done. What I loved about this decision and paradigm talk from Bob Proctor was I realized that I needed to strengthen my thing. Like I needed to know what my thing is, because every speaker on that stage had a thing, like something that just everything they talked about revolved around their thing, what they were really good at. You know, like some people were like Tony Robbins. His thing was that he takes charge of his emotions, and so his life follows suit because he takes him. Oh, another guy. He said, if you take yourself seriously, other people will take you seriously too. And I love that. Like that was his thing. Everything that he spoke about, everything he did just kind of emanated that energy. If you take yourself seriously, other people will take you seriously. And so as I was contemplating like, what's my paradigm? I got to really reflect on, do I really own that? Do I know what my thing is, what my paradigm is? And so I took some time and I wrote it down on a piece of paper. And I actually wanted to share it with you guys. This is what I wrote down. You must be committed to lifting as many lives as you are able. And the more urgency and determination you do it with, the more people will pay attention. And if you aren't able, polish your mindset and skills until you can't help but lead others to a spiritual lift. And so I wrote that down because I realized like that's what I do. I just need to like own it. And if you can own your paradigm, then you can own your life, right? Let's talk about the panel of rising stars, and then also the 10 steps from Gloria Mayfield. Oh my gosh, you guys.
What do you want to share from the panel of rising stars?
All right. So the panel of rising stars was a group of 4 guys. One was 26, and I think the others were about 30. And they all earn at least $85,000 a month in their various network marketing businesses. And so literally, we were on the one guy who was 26 years old, and he's earning $85,000 a month. And we just got to take down their notes. And what I loved about all of them is that, number one, none of them had a superstar story, you know, like where they were just the dream entrepreneur. They all had rough beginnings. And in fact, the 26-year-old, he talked about how he wanted to get involved, and he's like, but every one of my companies and women, I'm just supposed to go teach a bunch of women, and somehow that's going to make me money so I can support my family. And that's what he was. But he turned that into an opportunity, and he said, you know, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to get really good at it. And so he got really good at it. And when we were watching him at the VIP lunch, he was at his table. We were at our table with all our doTERRA friends, and he was at his table, and he just had all these women that were just, you know, like just watching him like, wow, we've got, like, he's taught us so much. And I thought that's neat that he owned the success he wanted to make. That line I told you, if you take yourself seriously, other people will take you seriously, that came from one of the young men on the Rising Star panel. What Jeffrey and we love working with young entrepreneurs, and the reason why is because we've realized how blessed we are to be at this point of our lives and have the knowledge that we've been able to obtain, knowing that we will never be stuck because we've learned to take responsibility and to have that mindset where we can create anything we need in life, right?
Yeah.
And all 4 of those guys, they all had their obstacles at the beginning, right? One of them even told us about this awful experience where he cross-recruited someone from his own company and from a friend's a downline from someone whom he respected, and that was his big awful experience at the beginning, and he turned that around and built his character off of it and grew into an amazing leader, and his results were phenomenal from it. So those are my favorite takeaways from that entrepreneur panel, or that Rising Star panel. Should we go on to Gloria Mayfield next?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah.
This woman here, Gloria Mayfield Banks, not Max. So she got up, and do you remember how she started? her speech with her rap.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
She gets
Announcing who she is.
Yeah, she gets up and starts rapping about what she's doing in the world and what her plans are, and it's literally a full-on rap, and that's how I wish I could reperform it for you because it was so cool. But she just had so much confidence. She is the most powerful woman in network marketing. And she asked us if we would like to have a quantum leap in our experiences with network marketing. And of course, everyone raises their hand.
Yeah.
Like we would like a quantum leap. And so Jeff and I are going to share with you what the 10 steps to a quantum leap are. And if you don't have a pen and paper out, I would grab one really fast. In fact, we'll give you a few seconds.
Well, the best part of this is that you can pause and start as soon as you're ready to go, because these 10 steps are very, very crucial to success. I love that she gave us these 10 steps to find so clearly.
You want to read it, first one?
Yep. So the first one is, and again, she hit it home right from the beginning, is decision. Make a strong decision. Be a decision maker and make the decision. Move forward. Decide that you're going to do it and be successful.
I wrote this down. She said, people who stumble in their success are non-decision makers. They sit on the fence. If you make decisions, you learn whether they are right or wrong.
And that's the point, is that if you make a decision, the worst thing that can happen is you've made the right decision.
You made the wrong one. That's the worst that can happen.
Oh, right. The worst that can happen is that you've made the wrong decision, and then you get to make another decision, and that's it. Where if you're indecisive, you're stuck until you
never
make a
go
decision.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Step number 2 for quantum leap, become powerfully confident. She said, fake it till you make it. Act confident all day long. I'm strong. She said, I'm feminine. I'm smart. I'm professional. I am a true leader. Meaning that you get to own the person that you're intending to become. This is something that we included at the back of the launch guide. If you haven't read it, we included a confidence statement from Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. And the idea is to program yourself, infuse yourself with confidence until you know that you are the steward of your dreams and the influencer in many lives for good.
She gave us some really great pointers and not advice, but philosophies about confidence. And she says, you never outgrow it. Confidence is something that is always shifting. It's very dynamic. It's always growing. You may be confident in other areas, but then even though and other people may perceive you as this really confident being, but she shared some personal experience of hers where she still feels that self-doubt. But she says confidence is constantly growing. It's moving. There's a difference between cockiness and confidence. She just owns it, and that's the biggest thing, is you own your confidence. And she says that's what's led to that's what leads to high retention. People want to follow you. People want to believe what you say, and people do believe what you say.
Well, you can be confident like that. Fake it till you make it. I know that sometimes that feels like, yeah, really, so I'm being false. That's not what that means. It means that in any stage of your development, you can still be confident. Excuse me. If I'm a brand new builder, I can tell my family and friends, look, I don't know exactly people who have been successful, and I'm going to do it. Do you want to come with me?
And that's the truth. And you can say it in a statement like, well, I really know that these people, like,
maybe there's
doing it, that I know that it's good and I'll probably be successful. Or you can say, you know what, this is great and I'm going to move forward. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know all the steps, but I know where the tools are, and I know what to follow, and I know how to get there, and I'm going. And both of those statements are true. One is just said with more confidence and one isn't. So there's none of this like being fake or anything.
Yeah, one of them will get a result and one of them won't.
Yep, exactly.
Right? Okay. Step number 3.
This third step she shared is a 3-step process: vision, imagination, and belief. So vision, using your vision and imagination, can lead to belief. So see it and visualize it happening.
That was easy, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's why Jeffrey and I have vision boards. Why we write our goals down everywhere. We review them multiple times a day, literally.
Having this statement of belief and using visualizations, she said those are great tools against failure and discouragement.
Yep. Step 4, time, money, emotional, and skill management. I'm going to list it because there are 4 things: time, money, emotional, and skill management. So she basically said, if you don't know how to manage your resources, you're not going to be blessed, given more resources, because you don't know how to use what you've already got, right? And all of those are assets. Time's an asset, money's an asset, emotions are an asset, and your skills are an asset. And so she gave us some tips for each of those. I'll share them with you. The number one time management tip, put your keys in the same place.
And the point is to not waste time doing things that can be totally prevented, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have your keys in the same place all the time, then you're not going to spend time looking for them again.
If you wake up every morning and you're like, what could I do to grow my doTERRA business? Plan it the night before. And that way you'll wake up every morning, you'll say, oop, I've got these top 5 priority things. Done, 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 done.
Yep.
Number one, emotional management tip. Compartmentalize your emotions. She said there's a time and a space for different emotions. And emotions aren't bad. You just have to gauge, is this helping me? Is this serving me? And if you're responsible, again, for your outcomes, you'll be responsible for your emotions. No one else is responsible. So choose. And the number one skill tip and money tip, I didn't write them down. I couldn't write fast enough. So
the next one, so this is step number 5, is goal setting. Set a goal and go for it with all of your might.
And remember what she told us, make it non-negotiable. If you make it non-negotiable, you'll go at it with all your might. If you go at it with all your might, you will achieve it. When you achieve it, it will build your confidence, and you can continue that cycle forever.
And all these steps, you notice a lot of them tie into each other. So once you make the decision with your goals, then you just do it, and you have confidence that you're doing your goal. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
We heard from several speakers about goal setting. I mean, people kept bringing it up over and over again. And I thought that was so interesting. That's another clue. Success leaves clues. And, you know, the ho-hum people are going to say, oh, I already know about goal setting. And the people that are actually going to be successful are going to say, wow, that's the 87th time I've heard that. Do I have my goals written down the way successful people write them down? And you know how the successful people that we hang out with and that we saw on stage do it, they write their goals and they put it by the bedside. They write it in a journal. We put it as our phone wallpaper, and we see it all the time. They review their goals at least 3 times a day. They read their goals out loud with emotion. All these people that have these huge influences over, you know, many people in this world, that's how they do their goals. So no one's above this rule, right? Number 6, image. You have 7 seconds to make a great impression.
So she said to be conscious. She said, be conscious of the way that you embrace people and meet people. The way you hug people,
shake their hands.
Yeah, shake their hands, embrace them, talk to them, engage with them, smile at them. She says that's your first impression. Be mindful of how you dress and how you carry yourself and how you look.
Which is interesting because that ties back into the confidence one, right?
Yep, it does. Yep. If you feel more confident, you'll look more confident. Yep. And then 7 is passion. If you can't wait to wake up, like that kind of energy. She says everyone develops this differently, and a key to being successful in your business and helping others be successful is by helping them find and discover their passion. And I think the 2 biggest keys there is that 1, everyone develops and expresses it differently. Everyone's passion can be different. But the other 2 key thing there is help people find theirs. What is passionate to Andrew may not be passionate to me, and it's important that, and what's passionate to us may not be passionate to you. And it's important that we all work together and help each other discover our passions and then fuel them, because those will carry you forward and help you achieve a quantum leap.
Yep, I love it. Number 8, discipline and hustle. And
she didn't spend too much on this because she just said if your why is big enough, it will fuel your discipline and hustle. And basically, in layman's terms, it comes down to, where are you at? Are you making $1,500 or $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 a month? And if not, you didn't want it enough. You didn't, because if you want it enough, you'll discipline and you'll hustle.
Yep, I love that. That goes back to the decision making, taking responsibility. If you want it, you'll make it happen. You'll find a way.
Yep.
And you can find a way to make it in a joyful way too. Let's see, my turn? Oh, your turn. Number 9.
Oh. People skills and leadership skills. She said people will do things with you if you develop those people skills. People like you, they will do things with you and for you. And that's part of the people skills, to learn how to engage with people and to help them like you. And then the leadership skill comes in because now all these people like you, they will want to do things with you and for you and be led by you.
What stood out to me was when she said, you need to know how to make people feel great.
Yep.
If that's your habit, like that's your reputation, oh, Jeff's the guy that makes you feel loved and comfortable. Like, I mean, how easy would it be to have a team of really committed builders if that's what you did? People feel good around you. All right, and then the last one, number 10, short-term sacrifice. Short-term sacrifice. What do you have to do for a little while in order to have a quantum leap. And this is something that's crucial. We're actually going to end the call with something that's very similarly related to this, but there's going to be short-term sacrifice. It's just the bottom line. You can't avoid it, and you shouldn't have to avoid it, right? Because boy, I'll tell you, the sacrifices that Jeffrey and I've made to get to where we are, and I feel like we're only at the beginning still, don't you?
Yeah.
It's been so worth it.
I think that's so vital, though, because people look at their lives and they say, well, I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that because it's inconvenient, or I'll have to give up my weekend, or I'll have to give up my evening, or
I'll have to miss a soccer game.
Yeah, I'll have to miss a soccer game, or I have to, what about my personal time this day or that day, or oh my gosh, my business is going to inconvenience my life. Well, hey, if you want the kind of compensation that comes from this kind of sacrifice
and the freedom that comes with that compensation,
then you need to be willing to make the sacrifice. And her point here is to not be dismissive and sacrifice your life, right? But she says, do some of those things, do sacrifice for a little while, because the point is that you sacrifice you make these short-term sacrifices and do things for a little while that nobody wants to do, so that you don't ever have to do them again.
Yeah. It reminds me of our Diamond Club program. If you don't know this, doTERRA's Diamond Club is something that sets it apart from other network marketing companies, where the company and your upline will actually pay for your travel, help reimburse your travel expenses, so that you can spend 4 months hustling, discipline and hustle, right? Hustling to build your business. I've done it twice. And the last time I did it was at the beginning of 2015, and it was very much a short-term sacrifice. It was 4 months of a lot of hustle, right? I mean, I wasn't home a lot. I missed a lot of social events. I missed family functions. I missed personal time. I missed the comfort of my own bed, because I love my bed, and I do not love whatever beds I was sleeping on during those 4 months.
He's very grateful for those of you that did put him up.
I'm thankful for that. We hit a new rank, and our downline builders got to hit new ranks too, because we all hustled together. It was totally worth the short-term sacrifice. And I remember in our very first, our second doTERRA convention that we went to. Wow, yeah, our second one we went to. There was a younger builder that was there, and she has this girl has a husband that works a lot, and she works a ton, 40 hours plus a week, and she had at the time a toddler. And she said, I don't want to miss my kids' upbringing. I don't want to miss my kids' childhood. And one of our mentors, Jeanette Franson, she was sitting there with this builder and me, and Jeanette said, you're going to have to do some sacrificing, and it is totally worth it. Jeanette looked her straight in the eye, and she said, I sacrificed my butt off for 2 years, and I missed things with my kids. My husband had to do the school programs because I was busy doing doTERRA, and I built this, and it has been so worth it, because now she gets to work 5 or few hours a day, 5 days a week or less. She gets to go walking and running on the beach every day with her children. She gets to spend time with her family that she wants to. She has the financial means to be able to support her children's medical needs, which was a huge expense and a huge burden before, and now it's not. And her point was, she made a short-term sacrifice. 2 years out of a lifetime for that kind of freedom and fulfillment. Holy smokes. And we can attest to the same thing. Our amount of intensity right now, it ebbs and flows depending on what rank we're hitting and how quickly. But in general, our sacrifice, I would say, it's totally paid off, because we have flexibility and time freedom that we never had before.
Absolutely.
And that's what we want to share with every builder on this call. We want to teach you everything that we've learned so that you can have that in your own lives, because it is phenomenal. Let's see, last little things. Oh, the butt busters. All right, so this beautiful lady, what was her name? I have it right here. She got up on stage and she started, Tiffany Malott.
Tiffany Malott.
Malott, thank you. And she got up, and her presentation started off with a video about big butts. Sounds vulgar, but it's butts with 1 T, not 2. And her whole presentation was about how your butt. In fact, my best takeaway from the entire convention, I think, like one-liner, was Tony Robbins. He said, the only thing in the way of what you want is your story about why you don't have it. I'm going to say that one more time, because that hit me like a ton of bricks. The only thing in the way of you and what you want is your story about why you don't have it. And a but or an excuse, story, it's all the same thing. And so Tiffany Malott, her thing was about buts. And she said, if you got a big butt, if you have a habit of having a big butt, right? Oh, I would be successful, but people in my area just don't use oils. Or I would be successful, but my upline doesn't help me. Or what else did she say?
I would be successful, but I don't have enough time. I'd be successful, but I can't miss any of my kids' activities. And again, her point was that all of these buts are true. She said they're true things. The point is,
will you let it get in your way?
Will you let it get in your way? Are you ready to make those short-term sacrifices so that you can have those long-term results?
I wrote down a few thoughts from her. She says, but, the word but, nullifies everything you said before. It allows you to go back on your commitment. It gives you justification to stay the way you are. And that was beautiful to me, because we know that in doTERRA, our three things that we seek are: we change lives, we grow ourselves, and we get compensated for it. If you're staying the same, you will never get those higher vibration out of your reach goals, because they'll always be out of your reach. And the more excuses you have, the more but you have, the more stories you have to explain away your lack of success, you won't be able to grow, and you'll never get those dreams. I like that she said, but nullifies everything you said before. So maybe like you tell your mentor, you know, I really, really want to hit silver this month, but okay, so you're telling me is you don't really want to hit it, right? Because if you did, there's a way. And one thing that I love seeing from these highly successful people is that they didn't become successful by being miserable. Remember that conversation we had about emotions with Tony Robbins? They became successful by living their joy. So when we talk about short-term sacrifice, that doesn't mean you're feeling guilty because you're putting off your family and you're feeling, you know, stretched because you're trying to do doTERRA with everything else. It means that you've made a decision. If your decision is, hey, I need that extra income so I can send my kid to the private, ease the financial burden off my spouse, that's my decision, and I will find a way. You guys, you know that there's a way you can make things happen on your own terms. If you have only a certain amount of time a week to do your doTERRA business, you can find a way to structure it and to do just the right skills and be organized enough that you can do it in that time frame. If you, you know, and I love this idea that you get to success by living in joy and not by feeling those negative emotions. That's not the point. The excuses story, that's the part of life that really sucks, right? That's the part that doesn't feel good at all. She said, why do we have big butts? I thought these were neat. 1, because we believe our butts are true. 2, we don't think we can get rid of our big butts. 3, we've become comfortable with our butts. 4, all of our friends have big butts too, and so they want us to keep ours. So those are all these really good reasons, but man, if you think about it, your big butt, as she calls it, it doesn't feel good, and we know already anything that doesn't feel good is not going to get you toward your dreams.
She said the only thing, or the only place for a big butt is behind you.
Yeah,
I thought that was a really, really good point. Should we keep moving, rolling along?
I actually really want to share just this part. Yeah. Okay. This and what she said, she shared with us how to know if you have a big butt. Okay. And I very much want to stress I invite you to not be the ho-hum person that says, oh yeah, that's not me. Okay. Ask if this is you. All right. Number 1, do you get defensive often? Because defensive people are always the people that have a lot of excuses. That's why you're defending them. Number 2, do you usually have an explanation for why things are the way they are? The opposite of that would be taking responsibility and creating your experience the way you want. Number 3, do you have a hard time seeing the good in things? And number 4, do you feel stuck? And if you answer yes to any of those things, then yes, you have a big butt, and it's time to drop those excuses and to move forward. Oh, let's see here. Oh, aren't those beautiful? Let's see, we covered the 10 steps to a quantum leap. Boy, people sure talked about all the good books that they read. And all that said to me was, hey, that clue for success is that successful people are constantly fueling their minds. And what one speaker said, he said, you're either going to fuel your mind with what you want to fuel it with, or with all the crap around you that will happen inadvertently if you're not deliberately putting good things in your mind. And every single successful person that we got to brush shoulders with, they weren't people that did it by accident. It never happened by accident, right? They're all people that had a certain amount of time, 30 minutes a day, 1 hour a day, and that was their self-nurturing, self-care time. They wake up in the morning and they do stretches and exercises, and they read their books, they listen to their audiobooks, but they're constantly fueling their minds. And it was amazing to see people that are making, $20 million a year, and they talk about their favorite mentors that they listen to every day. In fact, one speaker, he said that he has read Think and Grow Rich every day for the past 25 years. Not the whole book, like a little bit every day. And he said that has been better at helping him reprogram his mind. And one thought was that when you read a book for the second and third time, stuff pops out at you, not because the book is and ready to receive more.
I love that. That was a good takeaway from this message.
Yeah. So, alrighty. Can you hand me that launch guide? So those are our takeaways, and basically what our conclusion from all of this, besides how can we do as many of those things as we can, it was that this is a place for leaders, this event. And the next event, it's already on the calendar. It's December 1st of 2016, right? And we are going
in Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas, yep, at the Las Vegas Convention Center. And it's going to sell out pretty fast. They only have 14,000 seats, and this is open to every network marketing company. We're showing up there. And again, Eric and many other speakers, they said all roads should lead to convention. And of course, for us, the number one priority is doTERRA convention. All roads lead to convention. Man, they talked about promoting events. You've got to promote team trainings, team calls. You've got to bring yourself there and bring bodies with you. This is a networking event. If you don't have a network of people moving together, you don't have that momentum.
One of the things that was neat here is that you don't ever hit a point where you don't have to learn anymore. And really, I mean, nobody ever has to learn, but you don't hit a point where you know it all and you don't need to learn. I mean, we were sitting next to people, and there were people there in the audience that are making millions of dollars a month. I mean, total big money earners, that had already achieved great success in network marketing. And they were there learning at the feet of all these other people, sharing ideas. And I mean, any opportunity to go and learn. Those of you that can go to leadership that hit silver or above by December. I mean, leadership is a great place to experience that. Of course, we have the doTERRA's convention coming up in, next September, or is it October, whatever. And then this will happen in December of next year. So these kind of events are so impactful and so great for your learning.
Yep. The message was leaders show up at events and they bring bodies with them. So convention, doTERRA leadership, and this Eric Worre GoPro. Because again, the GoPro part was about how to do it, the skills, not just the big vision and the why. And so for us, like, wow, this was beautiful. So where do you go next? What do you have? And this is very easy. It's a very short answer. You remember, we've been training on this launch guide ever since convention when we released the beta version. This is the actual official published version.
This one's mine.
Yep. It's available for download at sharesuccess.com/launch. You can get the digital version, and this it should be in sale in stores by the end of the week. So, or hopefully sooner, because they're delivering them right away. And basically, you remember, we've done a training on this. If you missed the training, go to discoverbrilliantsolutions.com and look under the webinars. Because Laura Jacobs, PJ Hinks, and I did a whole hour-and-a-half webinar about how to launch your business effectively. But friends, this is your treasure map to success. Every single rank in doTERRA is built off this. If your goal is you want to impact 1,000 lives for good, you have to know how to do it effectively. You need a good system to follow. Okay, there are effective and there are ineffective ways to launch a business and to continue building a business. This is the effective way to do it. It tells you the exact steps to do it. Not only does it give you the steps, but it helps you learn the skills so that you have confidence and you get better results every single time you take action. And we want to leave you with a very simple invitation. If you have not done this, you can waste time figuring it out. You can waste time doing what you've done in the past that didn't get results that were what you wanted. Or you can do what successful people have done before you and just follow a known pattern that generates success. The first, oh man, it's hard to see in the camera. The first 4 steps are recommended to be done in the first 72 hours of a new builder starting. If you're new, do these. If you're experienced, I still suggest you do this plan, this elite plan, with exactness. And the reason why is because if you know exactly how to pump out elites, you'll be able to do it faster and faster and faster, meaning the people you bring on that are building will see results better, so you'll feel better about what you're doing. It also means that you'll be able to grow your own rank and support your goals and dreams faster than ever before too, okay? If you think I'm the ho-hum person, and yeah, I'll get to that sometime, okay, keep doing what you're doing, but if it's not producing the results, then you need to shift something, and this is a shift worthy, most definitely, of your efforts and attention. And I want to draw your attention to this page at the back here. This is the success check-in. Okay, you've seen a version of this before where you talk about what are your wins and victories, what are your challenges, what are you doing to develop personally, okay? And I've seen people get a little ho-hum about that. And I'll tell you, as we've hung out with all these wildly successful people, they still keep themselves accountable to mentors. Millionaires who keep themselves accountable to mentors, all right? And the most important part of this whole form is actually the bottom, where you get to write down the number of interactions for each kind of interaction, because remember the pipes is how we build doTERRA, and you get to write down the number. And this is very easy because numbers will expose your lack or your success or your lack of success, all right? And they'll explain what's going on. And if you're not getting enrollments, I can look at, you know, this success check-in and I can say, well, you've only invited 2 people this week to a presentation. So if you only invited 2, the most you could present to is 2. And that's why you don't have any enrollments, right? The numbers will be your indicator. And these wildly successful people, friends, they play the numbers game. In fact, who built in another organization, he was in it for 12 years. He built a team of 1.6 million members. He was in our living room this evening, less than an hour ago. And he said, you know what my secret of success was? He did a daily quota, a minimum, he called it the MDC, the minimum daily count. And every single day he would reach out to a minimum of 5 new people. And he said that's how he measured his success. And I guess 1.6 million lives changed later. He's probably cool with making that decision.
So the point there is that he had a minimum daily contact.
Yeah.
A minimum amount. And for him it was 5. He said for some people it may be 6 or 7 or 8, and for others it may be 2 or 3. But he had that minimum, and the big point there was that it was consistent, right? He consistently had that in mind. That was his intention, that was his goal, was to meet at least that many more new people a day and have some to some kind of opportunity and growth business.
Yeah, it was inspiring to see that. It was cool to have him like in front of us telling his story too. Like that was kind of a fluke that he ended up here tonight. And so we have an invitation for you, friends. The invitation is twofold. Number 1, obtain a copy of the launch guide and follow the plan with exactness. You understand we're only halfway through the month of October right now. You can do all 12 steps in 10 days, literally. And if you're already close to elite or your next rank, like this will only fortify that. And if you're far away from it, that's okay. You'll just be that much further ahead next month when you start again. But I would not make myself an exception of a formula that has this level of proven genius in it.
Okay, not only that, but once you have done this, you know how to sit down with somebody and you have done that. Key to success. You want to earn money in doTERRA LRP every month? You want to have those products for free? Do this. This is your way.
Yep. And it has the exact formula in it. That was the first part of your invitation. The second part is to get it in front of your phone in selfie mode and make a little selfie video 1 minute long about what your goal is and why you want it, and post it to the healthynetwork.org Facebook group. And invite you to do that this evening, no later than tomorrow afternoon. And you're going to see videos popping up. And I would, if I were you, I would include myself in that, because you remember one of the themes here was make a decision. And whatever your goal is, by the way, this is not an opportunity to compare goals with other people. Your goal might be, I want to earn $50 a month for starters, okay? It might be, I want to do something else, but make a decision and put a video up on the Facebook group, and that'll give you some accountability. It'll also allow you to celebrate this energy and momentum with your teammates and your colleagues.
Everybody that has a video up by tomorrow night at midnight Utah time will win $50 in free oils of their choosing.
So,
well, you'll be entered into a drawing.
a drawing. Yeah, entered into a drawing. How many winners should we have, though? I say we have 2 winners, not just one.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so we'll draw 2 names out of all the people that have their videos up for $50 in free oils. And I wanted to just end with a story that happened at the conference. It was pretty cool. One famous author, the author of Beach Money, he was up on stage and he talked about how people will do something if they see the value in it. And so he illustrated by holding up a $100 bill. He said, this is a $100 bill. It's just a regular bill. And I'd like to auction it off. Who would buy this bill from me for $50? Everyone stand up that would. And probably 3/4 of the room stood up. And he's like, really? 25% of you guys wouldn't pay $50 for $100? Okay. And he kept the bid going up to $75, $90, $100, and still a whole bunch of the room was stood up. And so we figured, everyone wants the bill that was this famous author's $100 bill, because then you could like put it on your mirror and say this was Jordan's $100 bill or whatever his name was. Yeah. And then the auction, the bid kept going higher, $200, $500, and Jeff and I are like, what? We stood down at $150. I would have paid $150 for this famous author's bill just because I figured it was infused with his good energy. And it gets up to $1,000, and there's still people standing up. And it gets up to thousands of dollars, and people are still standing up. And finally, it's maybe just about 12 people or so, and we're talking literally $15,000 is the running bid for this.
For this $100 bill.
Just a regular $100 bill. And he hasn't told us like anything special. It's just a $100 bill, okay? And he invites the dozen people to go up to the front of the stage, and they keep the bid going. And what do you think it ended on? Because you will never guess.
So they took bets in the back of the program that it would get to over $10,000 was really the highest bid that was thrown out.
Yeah, because he's done this in multiple audiences, and it's always shocking that people pay literally thousands and thousands of dollars for a $100 bill, and they don't really know why. The bid ended at $3.2 million.
For this $100 bill.
Yep. And as soon as the last guy standing won the bid, and it was crazy how it got that high. I mean, literally, it took up this poor author, it took up his entire speech time because he expected to end at $10,000. It ended at $3.2 million. And he announced that the money was going toward a hearing foundation that Network Marketing Pro company supports. So it was going to go towards supporting that charitable cause, $3.2 million. And the entire charity organization has an annual budget of about $10 million. They just got an extra $3.2 million. And we actually, the guy that won the bid, he was sitting in front of us in the VIP section. And we tapped on his shoulder and we said, what do you do?
Yeah, what inspired you to be willing to be all in for this $3.2 million? And it was funny because I remember watching him during the bid. So we all stood up, everyone stood up, because the guy said, anyone that's willing to pay $50 for this $100 bill, stand up. And so many people stood up. And that guy actually sat down about the same time that Andrew and I did. And then I saw him as the numbers kept going higher. All of a sudden, he jumped back in at a couple $100, and he had his hand up because then he had people holding their hands up, and then as he got higher and higher, he had people come to the front of the room. But that guy, I was watching him, and I was wondering, when's this guy that was in front of us, when is he going to back down? But he had his hand up the entire time, and he had his wallet, I think he had his wallet in his hand to just show his commitment level. And we asked him at the end, we said, what was your lesson here? Why did you do that? And he said, I was in it 100%. He said, this was a lesson for me, and it demonstrated so many things to us. It demonstrated a non-attachment to money, that somebody would have that much money sitting around that they could wire within the next week to give to this charitable organization.
He did it that same hour.
He did, yeah.
They walked him back to the back of the room to wire the money.
Yeah, and he was done. He was set.
And he also told us that, he said, I didn't know what it was for, but I figured it wasn't going to go to that guy's pocket. I figured it was going to go to some good cause. And that was the other takeaway for me, that if the more abundant I create my lifestyle, the more I have to give to other people. Like, what would that feel like to be able to just stay standing in an auction like that and give $3.2 million away? And we all know people that suffer, their quality of life is diminished because of ear problems, hearing conditions. And there's that much more money to help those kinds of people now. And like, what would it feel like to be able to do that? And so that takes us back to why we're here in doTERRA. Whatever your reason is, make a decision and own it and go toward it with all your might. You've got a powerhouse tool in front of you. You have a team that has got your back 100%, and a team that has a success track record. we know it works. We know what we're doing because we've done it. And we just want these good things for you and your loved ones. And you've got the challenge to do the launch guide and to post your video no later than midnight Mountain Time tomorrow night, which would be Tuesday night, right? October 20th is tomorrow.
Yep.
And so, friends, we wish you good night, and thanks so much for being on the webinar with us. Oh, by the way, the team group mentor call will not happen tomorrow morning. This was it. It was just this emergency team meeting webinar. So, good night.
Good night.